Your life is a delicate dance between choices and outcomes, much like a boat carried along a vast river. Each stroke of the paddle represents the habits you cultivate, some strong and steady, propelling you forward, others weighing you down, submerged like hidden rocks, threatening to capsize you if ignored. Often we don't notice the subtle drag of these rocks until progress feels impossible, the current pulling us backward instead of forward. Habits are the unseen architects of our lives. They shape who we are through repetition, becoming second nature, almost mechanical. But when these habits are harmful, they trap us in cycles of frustration and self-doubt. Breaking free feels daunting, as if we're paddling upstream against a force we don't fully understand. Yet, you hold the power to change direction. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers timeless guidance, a beacon of clarity in the turbulent waters of daily life. It reminds us that we are not powerless. By aligning our actions with reason and intention, we can shed the weight of bad habits and chart a course towards stability and fulfillment. Imagine for a moment standing before a cluttered closet filled with things you haven't touched in years. Each item carries a story, a memory, or perhaps an imagined need for the future. Letting go feels impossible, as if discarding them erases a part of you. This attachment to material possessions, deeply ingrained in human nature, becomes a source of suffering. We hold on to things out of fear of regret, fear of loss, fear of emptiness. But material things are transient, impermanent. They cannot fill the void of longing we try so desperately to satisfy. In Stoic thought, attachment to possessions is seen as a barrier to true freedom. Consider the man who treasures his wealth above all else, living in constant anxiety over its loss. He is never content, his happiness tied to fragile external sources. Stoicism invites us to turn inward, to seek joy not in things but in the serenity of the soul. It is not about rejecting possessions outright, but understanding their place. Gratitude for what we have, rather than craving for more, transforms our relationship with the material world. Reflect on your own life. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What if, instead of fearing loss, you embraced the possibility of freedom that comes with letting go? This is not limited to objects. It extends to past regrets, unresolved emotions, and outdated beliefs. When we release the grip of attachment, we make room for growth and peace. But the past, too, can tether us. Regrets are heavy chains that keep us bound to moments long gone. How often do we replay mistakes, wishing for a different outcome? The energy spent dwelling on the unchangeable drains us, leaving no space to embrace the present. Regret is a teacher, yes, but only if we allow it to be. When it becomes a constant companion, it turns into an anchor, holding us back from life's current opportunities. Imagine a parent looking back with guilt over missed milestones in their child's life, burdened by the choices they made. The pain of those memories becomes a wall, separating them from the connection they can still nurture in the present. Stoicism reminds us to accept what we cannot change and focus instead on what we can influence. Self-compassion is a vital tool in this process, as is forgiveness. These acts of kindness toward ourselves and others release us from the grasp of regret, allowing us to move forward lighter and wiser. Living in the present moment, as the Stoics emphasize, is an art. It requires mindfulness, an awareness of the here and now without judgment or distraction. Regret loses its power when we anchor ourselves in the present. Each breath, each small joy becomes a thread weaving a new tapestry, one not defined by past mistakes, but by the strength to rise above them. And yet, just as the past can imprison us, so too can the future. How much of our lives do we spend worrying about what might happen? We plan and prepare, imagining every possible scenario, hoping to secure ourselves against life's uncertainties. But in doing so, we often overlook the beauty of the moment we're living. Anxiety about the future robs us of joy in the present, leaving us trapped in a cycle of fear and what-ifs. Worry is rooted in the illusion of control. We believe that by obsessing over potential outcomes, we can somehow influence them. But life is unpredictable, a river with currents we cannot always foresee. Stoicism teaches us to let go of this need for control and instead trust in our ability to adapt. The future will arrive in its own time, and when it does, we will face it with the same resilience and reason we apply to the present. Consider the power of gratitude in this context. When we focus on the good that exists in our lives right now, the grip of future anxieties begins to loosen. Gratitude grounds us, reminding us that life is a series of fleeting moments, each precious and irreplaceable. It invites us to savor the present without being consumed by the shadow of what lies ahead. Yet, in a world so connected, so saturated with images of perfection, it is easy to fall into the trap of comparison. Social media paints a curated picture of other people's lives, tempting us to measure our worth against theirs. We see their successes, their joys, their carefully crafted moments of triumph, and we wonder why our own lives feel so ordinary in comparison. This constant comparison steals our confidence, making us blind to our unique journey. When we compare ourselves to others, we lose sight of our individuality. We forget that their path is not ours, that their triumphs do not diminish our worth. The Stoics urge us to focus inward, to measure ourselves not against others but against who we were yesterday. Progress is personal, and the only competition that matters is the one we have with ourselves. Breaking free from the cycle of comparison requires intentional effort. It begins with self-awareness, a deep understanding of our own values and goals. When we align with our true selves, the need to compare fades, replaced by a sense of fulfillment in our own growth. Gratitude, once again, becomes a powerful ally. By appreciating what we have, we shift our focus away from what we lack, finding joy in the abundance of our lives. As you reflect on these ideas, consider this. What habits are holding you back from living fully? What changes can you make to release the burdens of attachment, regret, worry, and comparison? The journey toward inner peace is not an easy one, but it is a journey worth taking. Each step, each paddle stroke, brings you closer to a life of meaning, balance, and freedom. The weight of seeking approval from others often goes unnoticed, yet it profoundly influences the way we navigate life. Deep within, we all yearn to belong, to feel valued and recognized. This instinct, while natural, becomes a trap when it dictates our actions. Picture this. You hesitate to express your opinion in a meeting, not because you lack conviction, but because you fear disapproval. You avoid taking risks, not due to a lack of ambition, but because the potential for failure feels tied to how others will perceive you. The desire for validation becomes a silent master, shaping your choices and stifling your authenticity. Seeking approval is like chasing a shadow, always elusive, always fleeting. The praise you gain from others may momentarily uplift you, but it doesn't fill the deeper void of self-worth. It is a temporary balm, leaving you craving more, perpetuating a cycle of dependence. With every compliment or like, you feel a spark of satisfaction, but it is quickly extinguished by the insatiable need for more. The danger lies in losing yourself amidst this pursuit, prioritizing external opinions over your own values and desires. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, but instead of your reflection, you see fragments of others' expectations. Over time, these fragments blur the image, leaving you disconnected from your true self. Stoicism offers a way to clear this distortion. It teaches that your worth does not depend on the opinions of others, but is inherent, unshakable, and independent of external validation. To free yourself from this habit, the first step is cultivating self-awareness. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you, what aligns with your core beliefs. When you act from a place of authenticity, the need for approval diminishes, replaced by a quiet confidence rooted in self-acceptance. This shift requires setting boundaries, learning to say no when necessary, and valuing your own voice above the noise of others' expectations. The process is not easy. It demands courage and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about the ways you've sought external validation. But as you reclaim your autonomy, you'll find a profound sense of liberation. Life becomes richer when lived on your own terms, not as a performance for others. But if seeking approval is a subtle weight, holding on to grudges is a heavy, glaring burden. Think of the times you've replayed an argument in your mind, each thought reigniting the anger or hurt. It feels as though carrying this grudge gives you power, a sense of control over the pain inflicted upon you. Yet, in reality, it is the grudge that controls you. It occupies your thoughts, saps your energy, and clouds your judgment. You become tethered to the past, unable to fully step into the present. Resentment, when left unchecked, festers. It hardens the heart, making empathy and understanding feel out of reach. Picture someone walking through life with a backpack filled with rocks. Each grudge adds another stone, the weight becoming unbearable over time. This burden doesn't just affect the person carrying it, it spills over into relationships, creating distance and conflict where there could be connection and healing. The act of letting go, though, feels daunting. It requires vulnerability, a willingness to confront the pain and acknowledge the humanity of those who have hurt you. But forgiveness is not about excusing harmful actions. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment. It is a gift you give to yourself, a way to reclaim your peace. Imagine setting down that heavy backpack, feeling the relief as the weight lifts. This is what forgiveness offers, a chance to move forward unencumbered. Cultivating empathy is a powerful tool in this process. Try to see the situation from the other person's perspective, understanding their motivations and struggles. This doesn't mean condoning their actions, but recognizing the complexity of human behavior. Loving-kindness meditation can be a transformative practice, helping you extend compassion even to those who have hurt you. With time, this practice softens the edges of anger, replacing it with a sense of peace. As you release grudges, you create space for joy and connection to flourish. The energy once consumed by resentment is now available for the things that truly matter: love, growth, and meaningful experiences. But this freedom isn't limited to forgiveness. It extends to breaking the habit of comparison as well. In the age of social media, comparison has become an almost automatic reflex. We scroll through curated feeds, seeing only the highlights of others' lives, their successes, their happiness, their achievements. It's easy to forget that these snapshots are not the full story. Behind the perfect image lies the same struggles, insecurities, and imperfections that we all face. Yet we compare our behind the scenes to their highlight reel, and the result is often dissatisfaction. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your confidence, your sense of self-worth. When you measure your life against someone else's, you lose sight of your own unique journey. The accomplishments you've worked so hard for suddenly feel insignificant. The life you've built with care and intention feels inadequate, and the person you are becomes overshadowed by who you think you should be. Breaking free from this cycle starts with shifting your focus inward. Instead of looking at others as benchmarks, turn your attention to your own progress. Celebrate your growth, however small it may seem. Each step forward is a victory, a testament to your resilience and determination. Gratitude plays a crucial role here. By acknowledging the good in your life, you cultivate a sense of abundance rather than lack. You begin to see your journey for what it is, yours, uniquely shaped by your values, choices, and experiences. When you let go of comparison, you reclaim your ability to fully engage with the present. You stop chasing an ideal that isn't yours and start embracing the reality of your life. And in doing so, you discover a deeper sense of contentment, one that isn't dependent on external validation or perceived perfection. These shifts, releasing the need for approval, letting go of grudges, and breaking free from comparison, are not small changes. They are profound transformations that ripple through every aspect of your life. They create space for authenticity, connection, and peace to take root. And as you cultivate these habits, you'll find that your boat moves more steadily down the river, guided not by the currents of external pressures, but by the steady rhythm of your own intention and purpose. Overthinking, though often unintentional, can become a relentless storm in the mind, tossing thoughts around like debris in the wind. It starts innocently, a passing concern, a choice to make, but soon spirals into an endless loop of doubts, fears, and imagined outcomes. You replay conversations, analyze every detail, and second-guess decisions, all while the real world moves forward without pause. Overthinking feels productive, as though by dissecting a problem you'll find clarity. But in reality, it's like running on a treadmill. You expend energy without going anywhere. Imagine you're lying awake at night, your mind racing with what-ifs. What if you made the wrong choice at work? What if someone misunderstood your intentions? What if tomorrow holds a challenge you're not prepared for? These thoughts multiply, layering over one another until they obscure the present. The hours slip by, and with them, your sense of peace. Overthinking not only robs you of rest, but also undermines your confidence, leaving you paralyzed by fear of making a wrong move. The Stoics, ever practical, understood this tendency of the human mind. They taught that worrying over what you cannot control is not only futile, but harmful. Life is unpredictable, and no amount of mental gymnastics can prepare you for every possibility. Instead of fixating on hypothetical outcomes, focus on what is within your power, your actions, your responses, your mindset. This shift from control to acceptance is liberating. It frees you from the tyranny of what if and anchors you in the reality of what is. One of the most effective ways to combat overthinking is to practice mindfulness. By bringing your attention to the present moment, you disrupt the cycle of endless rumination. Start with small, deliberate actions. Focus on the sensation of your breath, the feeling of your feet on the ground, the taste of your morning coffee. These moments of presence remind you that life is happening now, not in the imagined scenarios playing out in your mind. Gradually, you build the habit of redirecting your thoughts, creating a sense of calm amidst the chaos. Another antidote to overthinking is action. When faced with a decision, choose to act rather than dwell. Even a small step forward can break the paralysis of indecision. Remember that no choice is entirely without risk, but inaction carries its own consequences. Trust your ability to adapt and learn from the outcomes, whatever they may be. Progress, however imperfect, is always better than stagnation. Overthinking often ties into a deeper issue, the fear of failure. We worry that a wrong move will lead to judgment, loss, or regret. But failure, as the Stoics remind us, is not the end. It is a teacher. Every setback is an opportunity to grow, to refine your approach, to strengthen your resilience. When you reframe failure as a necessary part of growth, the grip of overthinking loosens. You begin to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities. The habit of overthinking is closely linked to another subtle but pervasive behavior: perfectionism. The desire to get everything just right can be paralyzing, making even simple tasks feel insurmountable. You hold yourself to impossible standards, convinced that anything less than perfect is a failure. But perfection, much like control, is an illusion. Life is messy, unpredictable, and beautifully imperfect. When you embrace this reality, you free yourself from the pressure to always have the perfect answer, the perfect plan, the perfect life. Perfectionism also feeds into the habit of procrastination. You put off tasks, waiting for the right moment, the ideal conditions. But that moment never comes. Instead, you're left with mounting anxiety and a growing sense of inadequacy. Breaking this cycle requires a shift in perspective. Focus on progress, not perfection. Celebrate small victories, however imperfect they may seem. Each step forward is a step closer to your goals, and each mistake is a valuable lesson. As you work to overcome overthinking and perfectionism, you'll notice another habit creeping in: the tendency to resist change. Change is unsettling, a disruption to the familiar patterns we cling to. But it is also inevitable, a constant force in life. The Stoics embraced change as a natural part of existence, understanding that resistance only leads to suffering. They taught that by accepting change, you align yourself with the flow of life rather than fighting against it. Picture a tree in the wind. A rigid tree resists, its branches snapping under the pressure. But a flexible tree bends, swaying with the gusts, its roots holding firm. Be like the flexible tree, grounded in your values, yet open to the shifts around you. When you embrace change, you discover new opportunities, new perspectives, new paths. Resistance fades, replaced by a sense of curiosity and resilience. One of the greatest challenges in embracing change is letting go of the need for certainty. We crave predictability, a sense of control over our lives. But certainty is a mirage, always just out of reach. The Stoics remind us that life's uncertainty is not a flaw, but a feature. It is what makes each moment precious, each decision meaningful. Instead of fearing the unknown, learn to navigate it with grace. Trust in your ability to adapt, to face challenges with courage and creativity. In this process, gratitude becomes a guiding light. By focusing on what you have rather than what you lack, you ground yourself in the present. Gratitude shifts your perspective, helping you see change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth. It reminds you that even amidst uncertainty, there is much to be thankful for: health, relationships, experiences, and the simple beauty of being alive. As you reflect on these habits, overthinking, perfectionism, resistance to change, consider how they manifest in your own life. What thoughts keep you up at night? What fears hold you back from taking action? What patterns of resistance prevent you from embracing new opportunities? These questions are not meant to judge, but to illuminate, to help you see the invisible forces shaping your decisions. Breaking free from these habits is not an overnight transformation. Imagine a calm lake, its surface undisturbed, reflecting the sky with perfect clarity. This is the state of a rested mind, clear, focused, and unclouded by the noise of constant activity. Rest is not laziness, it is an act of self-preservation, a way to honor your limits and restore your energy. Whether it's through meditation, quiet walks, or simply sitting in silence, creating space for stillness allows you to reconnect with yourself and the present moment. In these quiet moments, gratitude often rises to the surface, unbidden but deeply felt. You begin to notice the small everyday blessings: a kind word, a warm cup of tea, the feel of sunlight on your skin, Gratitude shifts your perspective, reminding you that joy is not found in grand achievements, but in the simple beauty of existence. It anchors you in the present, freeing you from the pull of past regrets and future anxieties. This practice of gratitude is transformative. It softens the edges of discontent, dissolves envy, and nurtures a profound sense of contentment. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you cultivate an abundant mindset, one that sees life not as a series of obstacles, but as a gift to be cherished. Gratitude doesn't eliminate challenges, but it equips you to face them with grace and perspective. As you integrate these practices into your life, letting go of control, redefining success, embracing failure, prioritizing rest, and cultivating gratitude, you begin to feel a profound shift. The burdens you once carried feel lighter. The habits that once held you back lose their grip, and in their place you find a sense of clarity, purpose, and peace. Life remains unpredictable, filled with challenges and uncertainties. But you now navigate it with a steady hand, guided by the wisdom of Stoicism and the strength of your own inner resolve. The river of time continues to flow, its currents ever-changing, but your boat moves forward with intention and grace. You are no longer at the mercy of the tides. You are the captain, charting a course toward a life of meaning and fulfillment. And in this journey, you discover the greatest truth of all. Peace is not something to be found. It is something you create within yourself.